Before we go any further, I need to destroy one of the greatest lies you've ever believed, that a positive attitude simply means thinking happy thoughts. No, that shallow version of positivity has weakened more people than failure ever has. Because when life hits you from every angle, when disappointment crushes your chest, when the pressure of responsibility becomes unbearable, a forced smile and a cute motivational quote won't save you. They collapse, you collapse, and you know it. A positive mental attitude is not comfort. It is not denial. It is not pretending everything is fine. A positive mental attitude is power. It is the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is unstable, to move with clarity when your emotions are screaming for chaos, to act with intention when fear demands surrender. A positive mental attitude is a spiritual posture, not an emotion. It is inner government, not a mood. It is mental sovereignty, not wishful thinking. Most people react to life. You will learn to command it. Most people wait for their feelings to improve. You will learn to move regardless of feeling. Most people allow circumstances to shape their attitude. You will learn to let your attitude shape your circumstances. And this is the foundation of an unshakable mind. The realization that a positive mental attitude is not a feeling you chase, it's a force you build. And once you build it, nothing external can break you, because your strength no longer comes from the external. Before you can ever build a positive mental attitude, you must face a hard truth. Your mind is a battlefield, and something is fighting for control of it every minute of every day. Your mind is never neutral, never idle, never empty. Every thought is either strengthening your spirit or weakening it. Every emotion is either sharpening your vision or blinding it. Every belief is either lifting your destiny or limiting it. If you do not take command of your mind, something else will fear, doubt, resentment, self-pity, distraction, temptation. These forces do not knock politely. They invade, they infiltrate, they occupy, and once they take root, they whisper the thoughts that break a person long before life ever does. This is why so many people feel lost without knowing why. They think their circumstances are the problem, but the real battle is internal. They think they need more motivation, but what they need is dominion. A positive mental attitude is not built on comfort. It is built on warfare, on the daily decision to guard the gates of your mind like a soldier protecting sacred ground, because your mind is sacred ground. And here is the prophetic truth. If you do not master your mind, the world will. If you do not lead your attitude will be led. If you do not claim your inner territory, fear will claim it for you. But once you understand this law, once you accept that your mind is yours to govern, you stop living like a victim of circumstances and start operating like a commander of destiny. This is the beginning of mental sovereignty. This is the moment the battle turns. If your mind is a battlefield, then your purpose is your flag, your banner, your declaration of identity planted in the middle of the war. And hear me clearly. A mind without a purpose is a mind already conquered. Nothing destroys a person faster than drifting. Nothing weakens the spirit like waking up with no direction. Nothing invites fear, doubt, and confusion more quickly than a life without a burning aim. When a man has no purpose, life pushes him. But when a man has a definite purpose, he pushes life. A drifting mind becomes the playground of every dark influence. A focused mind becomes the weapon that slices through every obstacle. This is why a positive mental attitude cannot exist without a goal that burns hotter than your fear, louder than your excuses, and deeper than your pain. Purpose is not a wish. It is not a preference. It is not something you hope to achieve someday. Purpose is warfare. Purpose is identity in motion. Purpose is the fire that refuses to die, even when life pours water on your spirit. Look at every builder of greatness: Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller. They were not carried by motivation. They were carried by obsession, by a chief aim so powerful that defeat bowed in its presence. Your purpose must be so clear, so fierce, so unwavering that even failure hesitates before approaching you. Ask yourself, what do I want so deeply that I am willing to suffer for it? What vision burns so intensely that no voice, internal or external, can shake it out of me? Because once you choose your purpose, everything else becomes simple. The mind stops drifting. The heart stops trembling. The fear stops shouting. A man with purpose is dangerous. A man with purpose cannot be broken. A man with purpose becomes a force the world must respond to. And that, my friend, is the foundation upon which an unshakable attitude is built. Now that you understand the power of purpose, you must confront the next battlefield, the battlefield of your inner voice. Because make no mistake, your destiny is being shaped right now by the sentences you silently repeat to yourself. Autosuggestion is not a motivational trick. It is not a cute affirmation. It is the law that governs the subconscious, the soil where your future either flourishes or dies. Whatever you consistently speak, your mind accepts. Whatever you repeat, your spirit absorbs. Whatever you declare, your destiny begins to obey. The man who wakes up and says, "I will win. I will persist. I will rise again," begins to carve strength into his identity. But the man who wakes up and whispers, "I'm tired. I'm unlucky. Nothing works for me," doesn't just weaken his day, he weakens his future. Your inner dialogue is either an architect or an assassin. There is no middle ground. And here is the prophetic truth. Your subconscious does not care whether your words are true. It only cares whether your words are repeated. Repetition is the chisel that sculpts belief. Belief is the engine that drives action. Action is the force that shapes reality. This is why you cannot afford sloppy self-talk. This is why you cannot let emotional impulses write your inner script. This is why a positive mental attitude must be forged through deliberate, disciplined, forceful declarations. Say it when you feel strong. Say it when you feel weak. Say it when every circumstance screams the opposite. Because the subconscious is not changed by emotion, it is changed by repetition with intensity. Speak power until power feels natural. Speak victory until victory feels inevitable. Speak identity until identity becomes destiny. The world may fight you. Life may test you. But if the voice inside you stands firm, nothing outside you can destroy what you are becoming. Autosuggestion is not just a practice. It is the daily battle cry that builds the unshakable mind. You can speak power. You can declare destiny. You can repeat every affirmation with fire in your voice, but without discipline, your words never become a world you live in. Because discipline is the bridge between thought and reality, between intention and transformation, between the life you want and the life you keep tolerating. Hear this truth clearly. A person who cannot command their habits can never command their mind. You cannot hold a positive mental attitude while living in negative rituals. You cannot walk in strength while feeding weakness. You cannot expect clarity while nurturing chaos. Every scroll that replaces reading, every excuse that replaces action, every delay that replaces commitment becomes a small surrender in the war for your destiny. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not deprivation. Discipline is self-respect in action. It is the warrior standing guard over your future. It is the general giving orders to your emotions. It is the architect shaping your character brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. Look at every great builder of success: Carnegie, Hill, Edison, Schwab. They did not rise because they were lucky. They rose because they governed themselves with the precision of a commander on sacred ground. And you must do the same. Discipline is choosing reading over scrolling, purpose over comfort, action over hesitation, strength over impulse. It is saying, "I will not bow to temporary feelings. My habits will follow my purpose, not my mood." Because every time you choose discipline, you reinforce identity. Every time you act with intention, you strengthen attitude. Every time you push through resistance, you carve greatness into your spirit. A disciplined mind becomes an unstoppable mind, and an unstoppable mind becomes an unshakable life. Discipline is not a step. Discipline is the bridge, and the bridge is the only way across. Now, we enter one of the most misunderstood battlegrounds of the human spirit: adversity. Most people run from it. Most people curse it. Most people collapse under it. But here is the prophetic truth. Every adversity carries within it the seed of an equal or greater power if you are willing to claim it. Life does not test you to break you. Life tests you to reveal you. Pressure does not come to destroy. It comes to expose what is weak so it can be rebuilt stronger. Think about the moments that shaped you the most. They were never the comfortable ones. Comfort teaches nothing. Ease builds nothing. Silence transforms nothing. It is the storm that builds the sailor. It is the fire that purifies the metal. It is the weight that strengthens the warrior. When adversity hits, the average mind asks, "Why is this happening to me?" But the unshakable mind asks, "What is this preparing me for?" One perspective weakens, the other empowers. One turns you into a victim, the other turns you into a weapon. A positive mental attitude does not remove adversity. It redefines adversity. It sees obstacles as training. It interprets delay as divine timing. It treats failure as feedback and betrayal as refinement. The man who understands this law becomes dangerous to defeat because every strike against him only sharpens him. Adversity cannot stop the person who grows each time he is hit. It cannot break the person who refuses to surrender meaning to pain. It cannot defeat the person who turns suffering into strength. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. And once you grasp this truth, adversity becomes not your enemy, but your greatest ally in building an unshakable life. Hear this truth with the weight it deserves. No circumstance has ever destroyed a person. Only their response has. Two people can walk through the same fire. One emerges bitter, the other emerges wiser. One curses life, the other rises with new strength. One becomes smaller, the other becomes unstoppable. The difference is not the fire. The difference is the response. Circumstances do not choose the meaning. You choose the meaning. Life does not assign interpretation. You assign interpretation. And this is where a positive mental attitude becomes a weapon. It gives you the power to decide what something becomes even when you cannot control what something is. Pain will come, disappointment will come, delay, betrayal, loss, they will come. But none of these forces have the authority to define your destiny unless you hand that authority to them. The unshakable mind says, "I may not control what happens, but I control what it becomes inside of me." When someone betrays you, you decide, will this make you resentful or wiser? When a door closes, you decide, will this make you hopeless or more focused? When life slows you down, you decide, will this be your excuse or your elevation? Victims wait for circumstances to change. Warriors change themselves in the middle of circumstances. The moment you accept this truth, something profound happens. You reclaim the throne of your mind. You stop living reactively. You stop surrendering emotional territory. You stop letting the world dictate your destiny. And you begin to operate like the commander you were designed to be. Circumstances shape the weak. Responses shape the great. And the day you take responsibility for your response is the day your life stops drifting and starts rising. Now, we turn to one of the most underestimated battlegrounds of all, your environment. Most people fail, not because they lack strength, but because they are surrounded by forces designed to weaken them. Hear this clearly. Environment is stronger than will. You cannot outthink the atmosphere you live in. You cannot rise while breathing the air of people who refuse to lift themselves. Every voice around you is feeding something, either your fear or your faith, your weakness or your strength, your doubt or your destiny. There are people whose presence dims your vision. There are people whose words drain your courage. There are people whose energy poisons your attitude like smoke filling a closed room. This is not personal. This is spiritual physics. You become what you are repeatedly exposed to. Negative people are not companions. They are contaminants. They infect your inner world with smallness, excuses, and fear disguised as logic. But the right people, those who dream, those who build, those who rise, they do more than inspire you. They activate you. They stretch your identity. They elevate your standards. They strengthen your mental posture without speaking a word. Ask yourself, with brutal honesty, who is feeding your mind? Who is shaping your expectations? Who is giving you permission to stay small or pushing you to expand? Because here is the prophetic warning. If you walk with the weak, you will think like the weak. If you walk with the fearful, you will believe like the fearful. If you walk with the drifting, you will drift. But if you surround yourself with builders, warriors, visionaries, people who guard their attitude like warriors guard their swords, you will begin to transform at a level you cannot yet understand. Your environment is not just where you live, it is what you breathe, and what you breathe determines what you become. If your environment is the battlefield around you, then your thoughts are the battlefield within you. And on this inner battleground, you must accept one truth that most people never fully grasp. Negative thoughts are not visitors, they are invaders. They do not arrive politely. They do not knock on the door. They break in. They infiltrate. They plant themselves like seeds of destruction waiting for permission to grow. Fear sneaks in disguised as caution. Doubt sneaks in disguised as logic. Resentment sneaks in disguised as protecting yourself. And once inside, they do what all invaders do. They multiply. They occupy. They take over. This is why a positive mental attitude must be guarded, not assumed. It must be protected, not hoped for. It must be fortified, not left unattended. You must perform what I call cosmic housekeeping, the daily, deliberate cleansing of your inner world. 3 steps form this sacred discipline. 1. Identify the intruder. Catch the thought the moment it enters. Fear, comparison, self-pity, jealousy, bitterness, defeat. Name it. Expose it. Do not let it hide. 2. Stop it at the gate. Interrupt it with force. Not gently, not politely, forcefully, like a warrior blocking an enemy's blade. Say, you do not belong here. 3. Replace it with power, gratitude, faith, purpose, identity. These are your spiritual counterweapons. They don't just neutralize the invader. They reclaim the territory. Because the truth is this: your mind is sacred ground. Every thought that enters either builds a fortress of strength or digs a grave for your potential. Most people lose the war because they never guard the gate. But you will rise because you will stand at that gate like a soldier of destiny. You will choose what enters and what dies at the door. This is cosmic housekeeping. This is mental warfare. And this is how an unshakable attitude is born. Now we step into one of the most liberating truths you will ever learn on this journey. You were conditioned, and you can be reconditioned. No one is born confident. No one is born fearful. No one enters this world with a positive mental attitude or a negative one. You were shaped by environments, by voices, by pain, by praise, by fear, by expectations you never agreed to. Your current identity is not your creation, it is your conditioning. But here is the prophetic breakthrough. What has been programmed can be rewritten. What has been learned can be unlearned. What has been installed can be replaced. Identity is not permanent, it is practiced. Identity is not fate, it is reinforced. Identity is not destiny, it is chosen through repetition. Every day, your mind is running scripts you did not write. Scripts that say, I'm not enough. I always fail. No one like me succeeds. These dreams aren't for people like us. These are not truths. These are echoes of old environments, old wounds, old voices, and you have obeyed them without questioning them. But a positive mental attitude requires a new script, a new set of phrases, a new inner language, a new identity written on the walls of your subconscious. Because the subconscious does not argue. It does not judge. It does not hesitate. It obeys whatever is repeated. So repetition becomes spiritual warfare. Your affirmations become inner ammunition. Your words become chisels carving a new identity into your being. Say it again. Say it when you don't believe it. Say it until belief bends to your voice. Say it until identity catches up to repetition. Because you are not who you were told you are who you repeatedly become. Reprogram the identity, and you reprogram the attitude. Reprogram the attitude, and you reprogram your destiny. This is not motivation. This is metamorphosis. If discipline is the bridge, and identity is the foundation, then your chief definite aim is the fire, the inner flame that turns an ordinary person into an unshakable force. Understand this clearly. A scattered life produces scattered results. A divided mind produces divided power. A man without a definite aim does not simply lack direction, he lacks fire. And without fire, nothing in life moves. Your chief definite aim is not just a goal. It is not a wish. It is not a dream you hope to achieve someday. It is your inner command, your spiritual obsession, your reason to rise, your refusal to quit, your anchor in chaos, your compass in darkness. It is the picture of your future so clear, so emotionally charged, so spiritually alive that it pulls you forward even when strength is gone, even when motivation dies, even when fear screams, even when the world doubts you. A person with a chief definite aim becomes dangerous. Life cannot distract them. Circumstances cannot move them. Failure cannot intimidate them. Criticism cannot silence them. Delay cannot stop them. Why? Because fire does not negotiate with obstacles. Fire burns through them. Show me a man with a chief definite aim, and I will show you a man who refuses to drift. Show me a woman with a burning purpose, and I will show you someone life cannot break. Every great builder of history, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, they did not merely want something. They lived inside their purpose until the world bowed to it. So ask yourself with fearless honesty, what do I want so intensely that it ignites my spirit? What vision refuses to leave me? What outcome would make every sacrifice worth it? Write it. Declare it. One would to see. Declare it. One instead, burn it into your subconscious until it becomes identity. Because vague desires create vague lives, but a chief definite aim creates an unshakable destiny. This is the fire. And a person with fire cannot be broken. Once your chief definite aim is burning inside you, there is one law that multiplies its power. One shift that separates builders of destiny from dreamers of possibility. Act as if it is impossible to fail, not because failure cannot happen, but because the fear of failure destroys more lives than failure itself ever will. Fear kills movement. Fear kills clarity. Fear kills decisions. Fear kills identity. But when you remove the possibility of failure from your internal vocabulary, when you delete it from your emotional dictionary, something supernatural happens. You stop hesitating. You stop shrinking. You stop waiting for permission. You step forward with the certainty of a warrior who knows the outcome belongs to him. This is not delusion. This is domination. The domination of fear by faith, of doubt by decision, of weakness by inner command. And here is the prophetic truth. When you act as if success is inevitable, your mind unlocks levels of creativity, courage, and resilience that ordinary people never access. You begin to think differently, move differently, walk differently. Why? Because you are no longer negotiating with failure. You are building with inevitability. Declare this mindset into your bones. I cannot fail. I can only learn. I cannot lose. I can only adjust. I cannot break. I can only bend and rise stronger. Say these words until they echo louder than your fear. Say them until they override every doubt burned into you by the past. Say them until they shape your posture, your breath, your decisions, your destiny. Because once you act as if failure is impossible, life begins to respond as if success is unavoidable. The world follows the person who walks with certainty. Fear bows before the person who refuses to bow to it. Destiny opens for the person who steps into it with authority. Move with inevitability, and you will become unshakable. Now we arrive at the highest battlefield of all, the battlefield of identity. Because at the end of every struggle, under every fear, behind every habit and every choice, the real question is not, what should I do? The real question is, who am I becoming? Action flows from identity. Attitude flows from identity. Destiny is simply identity expressed over time. And here is the prophetic truth most people never hear. Life does not break you. You break when you believe you are someone who can be broken. This is why the world crumbles. The moment pressure rises, because people are trying to fight battles with a weak self-image, a borrowed identity, or an identity built from old wounds. But once you forge an identity rooted in strength, purpose, faith, and sovereignty, once you decide who you are at the deepest level, the world loses its power to shake you. You stop reacting. You start ruling. You stop bending. You start rising. You stop asking, "Can I survive this?" and start declaring, "I was built for this." An unshakable identity sounds like this: I am not a victim of circumstance. I am the commander of my response. I am not defined by the past. I am defined by the direction I choose. I am not controlled by fear. Fear is controlled by my decision. Identity is not what the world tells you. Identity is not what your past tells you. Identity is not what failure tells you. Identity is what you tell you. And when your identity aligns with greatness, your attitude becomes unbreakable. Your decisions become unstoppable. Your purpose becomes undeniable. This is the moment the inner war ends. This is the moment sovereignty begins. This is the moment you stop becoming the person life shaped and start becoming the person you were designed to be. An unshakable mind is powerful, but an unshakable identity is invincible. Now you stand at the edge of a new inner world, one you have built step by step, battle by battle, decision by decision. Not by chance, not by luck, but by awareness, by discipline, by identity, and by will. You have learned that a positive mental attitude is not a mood. It is a weapon, not a feeling, a foundation, not a reaction, a declaration. It is the shield that protects you, the sword that guides you, the fire that keeps you moving when strength is gone. You have seen that purpose gives your mind direction. Autosuggestion gives your spirit command. Discipline builds the bridge to reality. Adversity sharpens your edge. Environment shapes your atmosphere. Identity determines your destiny. And decisive action awakens your inner warrior. But now comes the final call, the moment where all these truths must be forged into one decision. Will you step into the identity you were meant for? Will you refuse to bow to fear, limitation, and the person you used to be? Because nothing changes until you change. Nothing becomes unshakable until you become unshakable. Nothing becomes unstoppable until you decide that quitting is no longer an option. This is the moment where drift ends and direction begins, where excuses die and purpose lives, where the old self fades and the new self stands with both feet planted in destiny. Declare this with your entire spirit. From this moment forward, my attitude is mine. My mind is mine. My destiny is mine. I am unshakable. I am unstoppable. I am unbreakable. Let these words not be inspiration, but initiation, the beginning of a life lived in strength, authority, clarity, and purpose. Because the world does not rise for those who wait. It rises for those who stand tall in spirit even when their body is tired. And today, right now, in this moment, you rise. If this message awakens something inside you, if even one sentence struck your spirit like truth you already knew but needed to hear, then don't leave this moment unchanged. Type 8 inches, the comments right now. 8 means new beginning. 8 means discipline over excuses. 8 means you choose to rise. And if you are serious about building an unshakable mind, hit subscribe and turn on all notifications, not for entertainment, but for warfare, for training, for the daily sharpening of your attitude, your identity, your purpose. This is not just a channel. This is a movement of people who refuse to drift, who refuse to bow, who refuse to break. If you're one of them, declare it below. Stand with us, rise with us, and build the mind that destiny requires. Welcome to MotivationA. Your rise begins now.